Hi, everyone. This is your host, Kristen Howe, and I am so excited to welcome you to our call with today's guest, Gerald O'Donnell. Internationally renowned, Gerald is a former Western Intelligence Agency remote viewer, founder of the Academy of Remote Viewing and Remote Influencing, and a visionary in mind consciousness research. The Academy has been teaching remote viewing techniques since 1997 online and was the first institute to teach students how to reach the deep theta brain level in order to receive information from the universal collective mind. In 2002, the Remote Influencing Advanced course was introduced, which allows students to reach with full consciousness the deep delta brain levels. It also helps students learn how to influence reality through awareness of the one sourcing mind of all. Gerald's courses are highly transformative and bring one's consciousness into a level of oneness with all. And on today's call with Gerald, you will discover what remote viewing and remote influencing are. You'll find out the new key to successful reality influencing. You'll find out why old manifesting rules no longer work, and you'll discover how to connect to the center of all. So I can't wait. This is a really exciting new topic for this series. And Gerald, thank you so much for joining us today, and welcome to the call.
Thank you. Thank you for welcoming.
Absolutely. I'm really excited to share you with everybody. This is a new topic for this series, as I said, and this is going to be really enlightening for everybody listening. So everyone listening, lean forward and really take this in. And Gerald, I'd love if you could start by sharing, just a little bit of your story and how you've managed to end up where you are with the current levels of success you have and the influence you have, everything you're doing. It's really profound work.
All right, thank you. Well, I guess nothing really happens by chance. So it's probably not a series of coincidences. I guess I just, we all come here with a certain mission, and I think that was probably my mission here. Well, from very, early childhood, I was what you could call connected to the thoughts of others. I just could read what they were saying, and as a matter of fact, I wouldn't allow them to finish a sentence, and because I already knew what they were saying, and I would just cut it in the middle until my mother told me that it's very, very impolite to do so. So I learned to be patient and let them talk, and then I would answer. But I also felt, like a lot of children when they feel a little out of place because they have a little bit of a higher perspective about things or the way other children operate or humanity operates. And I think that was paired with a high sensitivity. And then eventually, as I grew up, I got interested in, of course, regular fields like studies, mathematics, and so on and so forth, and also the study of the mind. And then I learned a lot of things about the mind. I learned hypnotherapy and hypnosis, and I was at first playing around with it, and then it became more of a field that obsessed me because I knew there was something very deep in the subconscious that I was trying to figure out, and then that's how it started.
Wow. Okay. So this was just something that was this awareness. I love that your mother had to tell you stop interrupting people. That's pretty amazing. So this has just been with you always. Now, can you explain for everybody, because as I said, this is a new topic. Can you explain what remote viewing is?
Okay. Before we do that, I want to say the reason why I was probably telepathic is because I was open to my subconscious. And we have to understand that at the level of the subconscious, there is no talk, there is no language, there is just thought. At the level of what we call the higher level, the spiritual level, the soul level, the only reality is thought. At the level of the creator, the only reality is thought. Thought is not located in our brain. Our brain is a manifestation of human thought. Every single brain is particularly suited to the species that will then apply the operation of thought and restrict it to what they're supposed to perceive. It's more like a perceiving mechanism than a thought mechanism, but it also restricts you because you will only perceive what you're allowed to perceive, and then based on that level of perception, you will reflect your dream upon that perception, and then you're going to have what we call a life. So it's not that people are not telepathic. As a matter of fact, the surprise mechanism in this creation, which is why this creation is considered to be very, very highly unusual, is that we are not telepathic. Because most other levels are telepathic. In the natural world, telepathy is a natural thing. If you ever had any dog, pet, they've done a lot of studies in the wild, they are telepathic naturally. They still use a little bit of language, but then they don't depend on language.
Right. I love that you put it that way, depending on language, because you're right. We depend on language. We even depend on it with our own, exactly in our own thoughts. And we get cycling in our own brains. Do we cut ourselves off from our natural gifts at that point?
No, because we really are points that operate in thought. In other words, our soul just operates at the level of thought. It's part of your subconscious thought. It's you on a level of thought. But in order to have this incredible illusion of separation, amongst humans, not amongst nature, but especially amongst humans, there was the need to create a different means of communication, and the means of communication would be the opening of the mouth and then language. And that would give you the perception that we are separated. That was very important, because the whole experience here is the antithesis of the reality by which the God, if you want, the one operates. Because at that level, everything is unity, everything connects. If you want to talk to someone, you just send a thought and then you receive a thought back. It doesn't matter what it is. There is no space, no time that would block this, because it's outside of time and space, a connection. And at this level here, in order for us to perceive the idea of time and space, in order for us to perceive the idea of separation, for us to think that we're all alone and born out of nothing and then going maybe who knows where, we have to have this language.
Right.
Otherwise, we would suddenly realize that we are one. It's not meant to be, not yet anyway. We're going back to that. It's going to be a process.
Right. Okay, so that's very helpful to understand, and I love that, because it's just really, even the fact that you said, nope, that's not to be yet, we're moving back to that. So how does remote viewing, go ahead and give us an overview of what that is and how that factors into all of this.
Okay. The remote viewing is a term that was coined by the American intelligence community. They call this remote viewing because, first of all, they're using a lot of paper, so they would sketch what they would see in their mind's eye. But it's not really viewing, it's more you use your senses. You can use any sense you want. It's not necessarily, you don't need to view something, you perceive it. Do you understand what I'm saying? The mind that does not really, if you see a vision in your mind, it's a translation of a stream of information that's coming in to your higher mind or level of, higher brain, if you want. And that's coming in, and then it's then translated into a vision. Some people have clairaudience, they hear it and they hear information. Some people, that doesn't matter. That's a personal choice, how you're going to get information. Remote viewing was used originally as a way of, i.e., spying on, Russians or other people. But when you couldn't use, at that point, you couldn't use electronic means because, satellite intelligence was not available to go that deep, or you wanted to go into the mind of somebody and then explore what they were thinking and so on and so forth. So that's when it was used. It was also used for particular operational reason when you wanted to increase the intuition of people that would be put in a situation where there is risk involved, and you wanted them to perceive a dangerous situation before they encounter it, so they avoid it. This would be done into the military or special operation forces and so on and so forth.
Okay.
It's exactly what they do. As a matter of fact, in Asia, when you do the martial arts, they do go into the development of intuition, the development of perceiving in advance what an opponent will do as a movement.
Interesting. Okay, great. So how does remote viewing, that's in the military and the martial arts, how does that apply to us in our lives?
Well, hopefully it does not apply because you want to spy on your neighbor. Because I really don't advise you to do that. But it really applies because in our world right now, we live in a world where uncertainty and instability is everywhere. And you need to, as you walk your path, you make choices, because the role of man is to make choices. We have free will. We have the largest free will of any being in creation, by far more than any animal, on purpose. So, and because we're so blind, but that's the test. So when we are walking the paths of our lives, it is highly important that we should choose just so that we have a good, healthy, fun, joyful, accomplished feeling of having lived a beautiful life. So in order to do that, we have to sense the path in advance. When you have two doors in front of you, you know, well, maybe this door is good, this door is bad, and then you sense, well, this door is better to be open than the other one. That sensing in advance is where you will apply remote viewing right now.
Interesting. Okay.
It's exactly the same mechanism. There's no difference. And the way you do this is by going within. Now, this is very ancient. I mean, saying the kingdom is within, it's within. I mean, you have to go within to become the king of your domain, and then knowing what to do and making decisions that are based on a much higher sense of wisdom and awareness. Otherwise, your nose right on the bottom, right next to the earth, and you don't really know what to do. Or you listen to other people telling you what to do, which is not a good idea generally.
Typically not a great idea.
No.
Okay, so then what is, because you also talk about remote influencing. So what is remote influencing?
Okay, so as I was doing all those studies, I was, of course, connecting to my inner self very, very, very deeply. And I would realize that when we're doing remote viewing, we're going into what IE scientists, mind scientists would call the state of theta, which is, let's say when you're watching television, your mind quiets down to between 10 and 12, 13 cycles per second, and you're in a state of alpha. But when you go a little lower, because you're even more relaxed, your brain, your cortex really relaxes, and your deeper brain, if you want, starts manifesting itself on the outside, and you go into what we call the state of theta, which is a quieter mind, where the outer cortex, which is really your linear mind, which is what we call our thinking process as human, the critical mind, becomes quieter and allows for information to come from deeper levels of yourself, which are closer to the level of soul, which is pure thought. And then if you pass the border of 4 cycles per second, you fall asleep. We always do that. We go through those stages every day of our lives. We go through alpha constantly when we are daydreaming, we're watching TV, we're watching, especially our iPhones right now. Everybody's walking around in alpha, which is maybe a good idea, maybe not such a good idea to do it too much. And then we're about to fall asleep, we go into theta, we all pass through that, and then we're going to delta and we fall asleep. And then we're in touch with our soul. But below this, and then you're really in touch with what I call the soul. But beyond this, when you get deeper and your brain is barely operating, you're starting to connect to what I call the collective unconscious, the collective soul of mankind, where all this information is available across. What we've done is that we allowed people to get into a conscious awareness as they go below 4 cycles per second. Normally they would fall asleep, but in that case they don't fall asleep. They may even hear themselves snoring and they are totally awake. In other words, the biology is sleeping, but the mind is still awake. And at that point you can really do things that you wouldn't be able to do otherwise in a normal awakened state. And you become aware of your subconscious. And as you become aware of your subconscious, remember the subconscious is 99% of your mind. You're able to control your biology. You're able to heal certain things. You're able to decide in advance what path you want to choose and then manifest it. Because this is a very powerful level. Because this is the creative level of our minds. And that's how we connect all to the divine. We have a connection to the divine inside of us. What we think is inside of us.
Okay, amazing. I'm just letting that all sink in because that's really powerful. And yes, everybody here, this is a savvy group of people. We know this about the subconscious mind, but that idea that we can, as you said, your body is asleep, but your mind is not. That's really powerful. And that is how we're able to really connect with our subconscious. Am I hearing you correctly?
Yes. We connect to our subconscious. We open the flood. That's why our training comes in, because opening the subconscious is opening a totally different domain. And at that point, you can literally decide what you want to bring in the foreground of your operation and what you would like really to relegate to somewhere else, and what you decide to flush down, and not allow it to operate and control you. Because the subconscious that's close to your mind, that's close to your individuality, so to speak, is made out of a lot of memories, memory banks, a lot of things that we're not even aware of. Sometimes they block our awareness, they block our ability to evolve, and then it's quite easy at that level to bypass that and decide, I don't want it, and then you just put them away. We have a method in our course where you create a new being of yourself, like a higher body, so to speak, and you start energizing anything that you energize. Because when you energize something, why do we manifest? Because that's how the Creator manifests. We all parts of the Creator. The Creator manifests through thought. People think, the Creator is light. No, the Creator is thought. light is used for creation and gives us this illusion of materiality and the world and everything around us. But the basis of it is thought. The first creation, even if you go in the old Genesis, is the creation of light. That's created. So when you are in the level of very, very deep, profound thought and you think of something, then light will manifest it for you. Because you're marrying your thought with energy, because energy is the intent of your thought. It's the direction and the power of your thought, which is very powerful at that level. And then it will manifest. And then the deeper you go within, the faster it will manifest. Because you're becoming one. You're becoming who you really, really, really are. Because if you imagine the whole divine, it's one being. It's not multiple beings. It's like a pyramid. On top lies the awareness of being one, and on the bottom are all the beings. But all those beings are still within that pyramid, if you want. They all form one, but they're different roles.
Right, that makes complete sense. So now is this, I mean, because in some ways it sounds like, wow, that's so simple. I'm not saying it's easy, but so simple once you access at that level. Is this really difficult to learn how to do and be able to do?
No, it's not. It's not difficult to do that at all because you do it every night. See, everybody tells me, I'm not going to go into Delta. I cannot go into Theta. I say, well, how do you go to sleep? I mean, you spend half your life in Theta. We spend half our lives in Delta. And then when we dream, we go into Theta, by the way. When you are dreaming, you're going back closer to the awareness of our creation, then imagery about it and all this. We bring all this information. So we go higher, even though we're still, so to speak, asleep, and we create little worlds, if you want. But in reality, who is dreaming? We're dreaming. Who are the characters in our dreams? We're creating the characters in our dreams.
Right.
So we think that somebody else.
Okay.
We're creating little worlds.
Right. Right. So we are, at that point, we're manifesting. So you say that the old rules of manifesting no longer work for us. So why don't they work for us anymore? And what are, in essence, I guess, the new rules of manifesting are exactly what we've been talking about. Is that correct?
Okay. Yeah, I will explain that. Okay.
Perfect.
There are phases in creation. A phase in creation is by far more, we can't even imagine how long it takes. In our perception of time, it would be eons, literally. But the way the mind operates is exactly like a heart or like a lung. It expands and then it contracts. It expands and then it contracts. When it expands, the concentration is outward. It's propulsing itself outward. We are the outer membrane, if you want, of the divine. We are the ones that don't realize we're divine. So we are in the outer. And the more you expand, the more separation on that membrane there is because it's expanding. It's expanding. There's more people and more separation. At some point or another, if you want, the creator has to start bringing back the children to the awareness that they are himself or itself. It has to do that because otherwise it would lose control over the kids and then the children not having any awareness, as it is the case right now for the most part. That I'm not talking about knowledge. I'm not talking about reading. I'm talking about a full awareness within, that there are but a individuation of the creator, like a facet in a diamond. When they start operating and they start competing and wanting to control each other, and it is happening now, there is a great danger that the whole creation is at risk. So the creator has to start making a movement backwards where instead of everything being focused on the outside, now we're going to turn back and start focusing on the inside, which is where the kingdom is or where the king is. But in reality, as you start focusing on the inside, you're starting to bring creation closer and closer, closer. Everybody starts feeling they're closer to the core, and then they start suddenly becoming more telepathic, more cooperative, nicer to each other, and they realize that they have to change the way by which they were operating. It's not about controlling others and being stronger, and everything changes at that level because everything starts uniting. Unity is then the goal. The shift is being made right now. Now people are telling me, well, you've been saying this since 2005, let's say 2004. How come it's not happening? And I said, because in God's time, what is 10 years? I mean, it's really nothing. It's a difficult shift, and it has to happen from us. Now until now, we were given total free will to do anything. In the perception of people, God was in a throne somewhere, or in Nirvana, or retired in Miami Beach in a nursing home doing nothing, you know. He wasn't there. I mean, even some very evolved people have come here and they said, there's no God, you know. In reality, what was happening is that the core, if you want, if you can call God the core as the creator was allowing us to do anything we wanted, you know, so that the expansion gets as expanded as possible. The separation, it's a painful process, but that was the test to see where we would go with this perception of separation. And then we had all the ability to do anything we want. But at some point or another, this had to be stopped. And then this is where it had to be stopped. So until now, the manifestation of the children, any desire the children wanted, okay, that's where magic came in. What we have called the science of manifestation. It's the same thing. You could do white magic or you could do black magic. Both would work.
Right.
You understand? It was where your intent went. If your intent was into helping others and doing good, that is what you were manifesting. If your intent was in trying to control others and then doing untoward things to others and so on, that would also work. Because there was no direct input and the free will was not with the Creator. The Creator was just manifesting to us what we wanted. In other words, we became like spoiled kids. You know, we were outside, and then we said, I want this toy, here's a toy. You want this? Oh, here, you can get this. You know, I want to attack this country, go attack. Because it was a test. Because the one does not perceive us as being outside of itself. For the one, we are itself. We're just a created facet that it finds fascinating because it doesn't realize that it has anything to do with its source. And then it wants to see what it will do. But at some point or another, the one decides, okay, that's it. Now I'm coming in, and I'm going to have some input too. Meaning that now we're going to start shifting around, and then you're going to have to look at me now. Not only look on the outside to see what you want to do, in what country you want to expand to, in what other dimensions you want to explore, in what other planet or solar system you want to go to. Now you're going to have to look at me, because my dream for you is totally different than what you have been dreaming for yourself. Because my dream for you is a dream of beauty and cooperation and expanded powers, and you have no idea what I'm dreaming for you. But until now, I'll let you dream. But right now, because I'm still your source, I'm still your father, mother, I need to bring you back. Basically, you are me. I want this whole creation to be in a state of happiness. So right now, this is starting now. This is very serious. The manifestations now, yes, we are manifestations that we want, okay, will still be manifested by the power of thought, by the power of energizing thought, which is, you can use visualization for this, or you can use certainty for this. What we call faith is a strong belief that the more faith you have in manifestation powers, in the reality of creation, which is that thought creates when it marries energy, the more you manifest. And the more you manifest, the better at manifesting you become. It's like anything else. The difference right now is that if you want to manifest separation, if you want to manifest more of the like, which we did for thousands and thousands of years in our creation, because there are other creations, parallel universes we're not aware of. So if you want to manifest this type of operation, now the one is interfering with this. And you're saying, no, I will not project that reality to you. You're not going to get this reality. I'm sorry, I love you, but it's not your fault. You've fallen to that state because I allowed it. It was a test. But now, for your own sake, for the sake of my whole creation, I have to bring everything back. Now you will have to manifest unity. You will have to manifest who I am. I'm unity. I'm one. I'm oneness. I have no sense that one is superior to the other. I have a sense of task, but not of positioning. You're trying to, fight for positioning and being above and then ruling over others is not the way I operate. I don't operate like this. So right now, we will need to manifest by focusing on the desire of the one. Now you're going to tell me, how do you know what the one wants? Right? It's like every morning he sends a shopping list on the internet saying, this is what I would like you to do today. So how do you know that? Well, you can only know that level, which is the beyond, by focusing on it. That's it. Because thought, when you concentrate on something, that's how you manifest, goes into that direction. When you focus inside on what is pure, what is unique, what has no separation, what does not even understand separation per se, if you focus on what I call personally the little flame, it's really like a little flame. If you were to experience it, it's like you'll see a flame. It's not like a gigantic light. As you enter it, you'll find the brightest light possible. But if you focus on that flame in your heart, because that's where you'll find it at first, if you focus on that flame on your heart, you will suddenly be aligning yourself to that energy. So it's more than an energy, to that reality, because in reality, that is the only reality. You will start aligning yourself to that reality. And then in ancient perceptions or religions, they used to call this the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is the alignment. The Father is the creator. The Son is all of us. Until now, the sons, because we're active, it doesn't matter what gender you have, if you're male or female, it's totally irrelevant. The sons were all creating. They're all playing around. And the Father would project the reality to the sons that the sons wanted. And they didn't even know the Father was there, because he was in the subconscious area, in the totally superconscious area, and no one was aware of it. But right now, we need to bring in that alignment to the desires that the Father really has for us now. That's changing, you understand? And we're turning around, and that's when we're bringing in what old religions, without understanding what they were saying, by the way, we're calling the Holy Spirit. Because that's, the Spirit is the energy of life. That's the circuitry that goes into creation and brings life to everything.
Wow. Okay. So, and I love this because this is so in alignment with everything that you can feel happening right now. And I think people can feel it, even though the world is in a lot of turmoil. And why is that? Is that because of the shift that's happening?
Yeah, because the shift is happening, and a lot of entities, human and subconscious, what we call the, so to speak, beings, like some other beings, usually are within our subconscious realms. And some of them are not within this creation, so they enter portals in order to communicate with this creation. They come in here. A lot of these beings are not prepared to do that shift because it goes against their structure, their belief systems, not against their being, their sourcing self, because they're disconnected from their sourcing self. It goes against what they've been taught, their program, what dad told them they should do, or what society told them what they should do, or whatever book they're reading tells them what to do, or what that tendency has brought them to do, because they feel power in separation. They feel power in killing. They feel power in being on top of a pyramid. They think, oh, I've reached it. Have you noticed that the pyramid don't have a capstone?
Right.
Because they're all fighting to get on top of the pyramid. This is the way this creation is operated, not only at the human level, trust me, but even on what we call the spiritual levels, the beings. They all fight to so they make alliances. They do trickery. They do everything that you can think is happening at the level of humans is happening on what we call the levels of, so to speak, higher levels, higher programs. And then they find themselves on top of whatever pyramidal system, because it's a three-dimensional system they are on. But then they think, oh, I'm the big boss. But you're not the big boss, because the big boss is outside of that. Even on the dollar sign, you see an eye coming there and looking. But the eye is not connected to the pyramid. It's just looking. It's not doing anything. It's just witnessing. Right now, what's happening is that the eye is connecting to the pyramid.
I see.
As a matter of fact, that eye it's more of a tetrahedron than a pyramid. It's 1 and 3. It's the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. So it's coming in and saying, okay, now this is what I need you to do right now. And this is how I would like you to manifest. I will be adding my own power to your powers of manifestation as long as you operate in oneness, as long as you stop poisoning yourself, destroying yourself, and competing to levels that are so destructive that, there will soon not be a creation here. And I'm here now. So don't even try to go to me. This is not what you're here for. You're not here to become God, because you already are God, but you're here to operate as God, but in a human format, not to go out. So many beings have been here and saying, you know what, I want to go home. I'm going on top of a mountain. I'm going to meditate in nirvana, and I'm going back. Well, that's not their role. Their role is to unite heaven and earth, not just to go back to heavens. Otherwise, they wouldn't have come here. See, we forget the equation.
I love that. Okay, so how can we because this really resonates with me, and I'm guessing with quite a few of the people listening. So how can we then, focus on connecting to the center of all as well? Exactly what you said. We can manifest as long as we are manifesting with the focus of oneness and all of that. So how can we start to connect to that, that oneness, to that all?
Right. Well, our course allows you, and this is not the only possibility, because this has been written in all writings that the kingdom is within. Our course allows you to go and look at the kingdom and be in the presence. You'll feel the presence.
Okay.
And you have to be aware that in the last couple of years, because of the reaction of humanity and because of the poisoning of a lot of levels, of operational levels in this creation, it's becoming harder and harder to even try to connect, because there's so much opposition to this. Whenever you go against a system, the system has a life of itself. Any system has an artificial intelligence. It's like a thought form. So if you go against a corporation, pretty soon the corporation has a life of its own, independently of who is really alive in the corporation, and it will fight for it. It's like a computer that has artificial intelligence. It will fight for it. It has no real existence, but it's fighting. So right now we have a lot of elements that are fighting, and a lot of times because of all this, everybody's exhausted. People have problems when they go to sleep and they feel anxiety, and because it's this tug of war that's happening right now, constantly between, okay, let's get together, let's finally make peace, and let's go on and do something more productive than just banging ourselves in the name of nothing. We have this inside, but on the other hand, the structure is saying, no, imagine you're part of my structure, and soon you will be on top of my pyramid, and imagine what you will get, what cookies and candies you're going to get there. So they all want that, and then they're into a hoarding phase. It's normal. It's a reaction. This movement will not stop. There's no way we can stop, because this is the movement of creation. It's always the pulse. It goes out and then it goes back. And then no one can stop the heart from contracting, the real heart of the Creator from contracting again. But it starts turning around. That's when you have this difficulty. So in our course, you go within. We also tell you to connect to nature, because nature, even though it's been almost losing its homeostasis and is about to go into gigantic convulsions because of what we are doing to it, no one else. It's not the sun rays that's doing it. The sun is not angry at the earth. I haven't gotten the idea that the sun is angry at the earth. It's us. So, when you look at what's happening right now, nature is still pure. Even though it's godly, it's pure. It's God manifested in front of you alive. You're watching God in front of you. You don't have to go into digging the earth and then finding books or secret formulas for that, because you have God inside of you and you have God outside of you in nature right now. And you know what? You are God, but you're the part that has forgotten it. We are the only part that have to remember that we are God. Nature is operating in perfection. If we don't interfere with nature, you will never have a destruction of nature or a part of nature destroying itself, because it's not part of nature. It's perfection.
Wow. Yeah, I love that. So you did mention, there is so much anxiety. People are feeling lack of energy. There's a lot of fear. Do you have any suggestions for how we can overcome that?
Yeah, get rid of your vitamins, first of all.
Okay.
And connect to nature. What I mean by that, connect to nature at all levels. Eat the products of nature more and more, and connect to nature, not through the National Geographic Channel, but through nature. Try to be in an environment where the natural elements are still around. We need to do that, because nature itself right now is losing energy. The life force inside the planet, it has gone down drastically in the last 60 years because of what we've done to it. It's battling in order to keep its homeostasis and not go into convulsions that would be so painful and so destructive that we can't even imagine. We're right there. And then we don't even realize, we understand that it is a life energy. When we eat a salad, we say, oh, I'm getting chlorophyll. No, you're not getting chlorophyll. When you eat a salad, you're getting life force from the salad. It's beyond the chlorophyll. It is literally alive, if the salad is alive. When you eat food that's dead, well, you don't get any energy from that. You just get artificial food. So we have to go back to getting life energy from the earth, and we have to go back to getting specially life energy from the source. The source does not lack energy. And that's a turnaround in focus by focusing inward to the source. And then you walk around then with one foot on the earth and one foot inside. You need to walk the earth, though. I'm not asking people to stay in meditation all day long. That's not recommended. That will not solve any problem. But if everybody is connected at the same time as they're walking the earth, then we start connecting among each other. Everything will heal at that point. And then energy will start flowing through us. So yes, we go to sleep, and I know many people have called me to say, I go to sleep, I'm already like worn out, and I wake up in the morning and I'm more tired than when I went to sleep, and then I feel anxious. And then some days are great, and some days are so bad, and some days I'm like feeling like I'm dying even. This is because we're all connected. We don't realize we're one. It's not something that a doctor can heal you with, or by giving you some kind of chemical pill and telling you that your serotonin level is too low. It has nothing to do with it. It has to do with life force. Life force is the electricity, as I said once, that goes into if you consider the creation to be like a computer, it goes through the computer. It goes everywhere. It's the same electricity. It has no qualms about who you are. It allows for everything to be alive. That's the energy of source coming in. And this has been blocked, and this has been reduced, and then we're doing things that are really deleterious to ourselves on many levels. Food, electromagnetic poisoning from too much cell towers and so forth. We're blocking ourselves. I give you an example I've never told people. Even the creation of the plastic shoe, the sole made out of plastic has disconnected us from the energy of the earth. Because when we walk the earth with leather shoes, we still were connecting. Believe it or not, it's an insulator. Plastic is an insulator.
Right.
It really is an electrical insulator. And a lot of the energy that the earth gives to us is still electrical energy. And we don't get that. We don't even realize how many levels we've disconnected,
Wow. Okay. So as we are looking to reconnect, which I think is so important, you even mentioned it before, there is a lot of resistant energy to that around us. So how do we shield ourselves from that negative resistant energy?
First of all, by doing it ourselves. If you are connected, I always say, if you are connecting yourself consciously to the source, okay, which in the old time they used to call the holy of holy, or the rock of salvation, or whatever. If you connect to that the point, nothing can affect it, because it does not operate in any kind of separation. So there cannot be dark coming into it and saying, I'll take you over, because it's not even possible. It's outside of the equation of competition and levels of what I call additive energy. Nothing like this can happen. So you are protected. This has to be a constant, because of the reaction right now of so many children, if you want. They are being used to go and do anything they wanted without supervision, because this is what has happened to creation. The children were allowed to play without any kind of supervision or real advice. And someday the parents are coming back, and parents by then, I mean the creator, which is male and female, are coming back and saying, okay, I think I'm going to start some certain boundaries, not because I want to hurt you, because I want to save you. I want to show you the way back to where you're supposed to be. I want to show you the way back to happiness. Not only your happiness, a general happiness. I want you to show you the back to a healthy living. You don't need to do this. You don't need to. A lot of the children are saying, no, I don't want that, and they rebel.
Right.
That happens with even your own kids. If you let them do too many things, and then you come back and suddenly you want to impose a discipline, they'll rebel. That's a natural thing. It's a natural reaction until they see the wisdom of it. The problem is right now, most people don't yet see the wisdom. They're still operating in the old system. They know, but deep down, ask anybody. I don't care if they're in Wall Street or CEOs. They know the old system is not working anymore. They know it. They're still fighting for it, but they know it. They don't know what could replace it, because they're not really connecting. It's not our role to necessarily create all the new systems that will come in, because it's the role of our high intuition, our connection, that will then give us the idea, oh, this is what we could do, As we connect, it will happen. Because in reality, what you call wisdom, which is a higher level of intelligence, is available to all of us.
Right, of course. So let me ask you this, because I know this is, first of all, I love this, because I think we all can feel there's a truth to it of, yes, I have been feeling more drawn to connect. So I think this really speaks to an instinct that has been quite universal. I can only speak for people that I speak with who are part of the series, but it feels like it's a really predominant thing right now. Can you share with us, because I know this is exactly what your course does, can you share with us some of the examples of, some people that have had transformations when they have connected, when they've gone through your course? Do you have just 2 or 3 stories you can share with us?
Oh my God, yeah.
I'm sure you have so many, but
yeah.
Yeah.
There are people who have healed themselves of injuries, as I have myself, that almost immediately, somebody broke a finger, I think, and then when he went to the hospital, he went immediately into a delta state. He saw himself being healed, and by the time they did the MRI, he was healed. They couldn't understand it. The doctors were like scratching their head, because there is no time at that point for manifestation. Understand that the closer you get to source, the more immediate the manifestation is.
Right.
But you have to be careful when you want to go close to source to align constantly your thought to source so that source aligns you. You don't want to bring something untoward to source. First of all, source will not project it to you. What is happening right now is a good thing, because also if you bring a bad thought and you go so deeply, in the old times you would manifest it very fast, and you go,
right.
I'm a big wizard now. I can do these things. Just watch me. And right now you won't be able to do that so easily. Why? Because you're not aligning to the desire of the one. The one is watching your heart, not your mind, really. He's watching your heart. And if your heart is pure, you'll get it. If your heart is having unusual thoughts, it may not work because of that. So as long as you align yourself to purity of heart and oneness of being, you'll manifest that. And we have people that have healed themselves of incredible things, including diseases that are considered to be incurable. We have people that have they've changed their biological being, because another thing that is important, okay, we're not made to live such a short life. The more disconnected from the Creator we are, the shorter our lifespan it was. For instance, in the Middle Ages, a man that was 40 or a woman that was 40 were considered old. That was at the end of your life, because there was. Right. We even call this the Dark Ages. It was not unrelated, even if you were a king. It was unrelated to your level of hygiene. It was just because they were disconnected. The disconnection was extreme. And as we're starting to connect more, you will notice, even though we eat junk food and everything, and people they take on too much food, they still start to live longer because we are doing this movement. But believe me, when you do align it, your DNA has within itself, because we don't even understand the DNA. 90% of the DNA is misunderstood. They call it junk. It's not junk. There are programs within the DNA that are made to rejuvenate your body. Your body is constantly producing new cells. And then we can live very, 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 very expanded long lives. We are made for that. It's been promised. Even if you look at the Bible, which is a symbol of the descent of man into separation, they start living 900 years, 800 years, 700 years, and they go to 200, 300, and then suddenly 120, and then boom, and then we go to 70, Now wow. We're doing the other move. We're doing the movement backwards. You will see. I don't know if you personally, but, it may take a couple of generations, but we're going to get to lifetimes that can exceed our wildest imagination, because the whole system is going to change. It's not going to be about survival or shelter or health. You won't have to think about it even, because that's going to be automatic. You will heal automatically. The environment will change to be purified and be beautiful. Everything will be provided. What will be important is the creativity of men as far as doing beautiful work together to a higher purpose, really bringing this whole creation to a higher high. And the higher they go on purpose, the longer they will live. Until at some point, I don't want you to tell you, but basically you could tell that some of them can live almost forever.
Wow.
This is rejuvenation process. So right. I've had many people tell me, I've changed this is no joke. I've changed my facial expression. I've changed the size of my breast. How is that possible? I said, because it's in your DNA. Your DNA is listening to you. It has a language. It understands language. Your DNA, when you talk in thought, you are given the ability, we don't understand that, you're given the ability to program your DNA. It's like you're sitting on the computer of creation, and you are at the keyboard, and you're using a higher level language. And then it will break it down into machine language that will then create what you need. Do you understand? But we don't talk to our DNA. But we also teach that. Talk to your DNA. Just say what you want. But you need to align. If you don't align, it's not going to happen.
Right. As long as your heart is pure. I love that you said that because that's so powerful. And obviously, I mean, there is so much to this, and there is, this is just the beginning of this. And I'm sure people are listening going, yes, my heart is pure. I do want to connect within and connect to the one. And obviously there's so much more to learn from you. So you created a special offer for everyone who's listening, which I appreciate so much. So everyone, you can just click the special offer button and you'll be taken right to the page. You definitely want to do this because Gerald is going to talk us through it right now. So Gerald, what do we find here?
In the training itself, it's a composite of the two courses, the remote viewing course and the remote influencing course, okay? The remote viewing course has 11 modules, which are basically training you to go into a very deep theta and starting to have you experience that what you think is your mind in your brain is not in your brain, and it can expand somewhere else. It's not locked into a box. So you're getting out of your box, so to speak. And at that point, automatically, because at that level, you start getting more expanded in awareness because you're going within. As you're doing this training, you close your eyes and then you just go within automatically, and then you expand. And as you expand, that sounds almost ridiculous, but your awareness becomes higher, then doctor would say, they get smarter, IQ. Well, that's a real IQ. Yes, you become more aware, more alive. And then you go through every single module, which has a reason to be, because one is training you to go across space. The other one is training you to understand that time is really an illusion and you can travel it. And then when you finish with this, you're ready then to enter the level of manifestation. You can manifest already at deep theta. It's very powerful. You don't need to go into delta necessarily for that. But the second one, which is the remote influencing course, starts by, first of all, giving you some brain entrainment that allows you to go into theta and into delta that you're going to use on your own when you want to do your own. Because, when we teach you, we're giving you a crutches.
Right.
The whole idea is for you to apply this in your real life. And I've had people sometimes, and surprisingly, they tell me, I've been trying to manifest, and I'm doing this, and I'm using CD number 10 for 5 years. And I said, why are you using CD number 10 for 5 years? Listen to CD number 10 for 2 months, and then let it go, take off the little training wheels on your bike and go right, You just go right. And just you have to open a portal, not to tell you, just sit in front of it.
Right.
Do it. So they do that. And then these CDs are nice because they give you a background brain training that allows you to go easily into delta and theta, okay? And then you have a PDF, an ebook that explains, because in order to understand all this, you have to understand the system. I always say you can't fly an airplane if you don't understand flying. Pressing buttons is not going to do it. You have to understand why the plane is lifting off and why it does that, and then you can do it. The understanding of the relationship between matter and mind, or spirit and matter, or you and God and heavens and earth. All these relationships are in that PDF. It's very easy. It's not complicated. It's explained. You read it, and then we have the same information given to you in an audio form in a way by which it starts filtering into your higher level subconscious. So your higher level subconscious, which is still very, very connected to the outer linear thinking, starts thinking, because that's where you have, people say, I'm visited by beings. These beings are really you. They're parts of you. They're groupings of thought. There's energies within you. And they also have forgotten that they're connected. So it's good for them to remember that. So when they start doing that, they themselves go, wow, really? You mean we don't have to compete all day long to attract attention from a little boy or a little girl here? So it's good for them to hear this. And then when we're done, then we go into the training. And then you go into the real training, and then you go into experiencing the delta. We'll train you to go into delta, deep down into delta and remain aware. And then we teach you, not only do we bring you in the middle of the ocean, but we tell you how to swim.
I love that. That's the perfect way of looking at it.
There are other ways, many ways by which you can go into delta. You go delta training, brain entrainment and so forth. But then you're in the ocean, and then you're in the middle, and you go, what do I do with this? Right,
of course. So you do that very thing that you said earlier when I asked you, how do we shield ourselves from, the negative energies, and you said do it yourself. So this is exactly what you're teaching us how to do.
Yes, we teach that. There is, as a matter of fact, there's a particular CD that teaches you how to shield yourself. This is very, very important right now before you go to sleep, because you understand, very often all this stuff happens when you go to sleep. People are not aware when they go to sleep that they're, so to speak, lower soul, which is what you are now when I'm talking to you. connects back to the higher soul. And the biology has its own consciousness and stays there, sleeping, snoring, rebuilding itself. If you snore, sorry, some people don't snore, which is better, but it just stays there. And your soul is out. And some entities or energies take advantage of that because they go, oh, there's no one there. Let's go and see what will happen. So you have to, right now, it's very important to protect yourself. Not because they all mean bad things for you. You understand? It's right. Because they're unaware. These are unaware energies who think, oh, well, there is energy there. Let's suck some energy out of this being here now because like this we feel better. Or let's enter it and let's experiencing this for a couple of days. And then sometimes you wake up in the morning and suddenly you feel different and then you have different thoughts and you say, where are those thoughts coming from? You've been infiltrated.
Right.
So it's common. And people one day feel different than the other because they're doing this constantly now. It's not pure evil. It's just the way they operate. They're totally unaware. So you have to do that shielding before you go to sleep. You create a strong shield, and then you fall asleep. Then the next morning, we tell you exactly what to do. You prepare yourself for the day. You do a little meditation, then you start the day. And then at night, same thing. You review what you've done. You take out what you don't want, and then you absorb what you learned, and then there is a night. When you go into Delta, you can have lucid dreaming. We have a whole CD on lucid dreaming. So not only do you remain aware, but you do things with it.
So you're really giving us everything that we need so that we can fully and completely reconnect and manifest and all of that with a pure heart on our own. We can actually do this on our own.
Yeah, I can do everything but tell you how to get the pure heart. That's something that doesn't matter. Man has to decide, I want to do it with a pure heart. But you know what? As you said very well, most human beings are really good inside.
Yep.
They're all searching for that. And they're all disturbed by seeing that that's what they want and they cannot get it when they function because the system is distracting them and getting them too tired. They don't have time to apply themselves to love. They want to feel love. They want to give out love, and they cannot do that because the system is saying, no, if you give out love now, it's not going to work very well. You just have to be very, very harsh towards others, and then we'll promote you maybe. They have to understand that this is over. The shift is over, and then by being like this, they will feel the peace inside. They will know, and they will be much more sensitive to the changes. They will understand events like world events in a different way because most of the events that are happening in our world have a reason to be. There's a message behind it. It's like a metaphor. And we don't seem to see it for most of us because, we still, with our head on the ground, and we think these are like, bad elements are trying to destroy us and take us over. No, not necessarily. No, it's not that. There is a message saying, this is bad, but it could get much worse if you continue. But this is already bad enough. Watch it because there's a message there. Don't use this. Don't do that. Because if you do that, this could happen. The next one will be much worse. Stop this behavior. The Creator does not speak by going on national TV and just broadcasting.
Right. So as we do this, as we go through the training that you have here for us, which is just fantastic, by the way, will we start to notice some shifts and changes right away? I know you said that you'll start to see the messages and things a little bit clearer, but will there be any others?
You know what? It's interesting because when you start opening to your higher self starts connecting and directing your experiences. So everyone will get the experience they need. If your higher self feels you need this particular type of experience, some people are going to the gigantic light. I will give you an example. That's totally transformative. You'll never be the same. But when you have that, it's because your higher self felt, okay, my projection, my baby is ready for it. I'm going to give this to it. Or you're going to get other experiences. Some people suddenly realize that they can, predict numbers, or, they have the ability to almost know the news in one day in advance. We have had people like this. Wow. And they have the tremendous power of remote viewing the future. And they use it. All this is available. It's what you're going to focus. Healing is so important right now. Cleansing is so important. That's part of the course. We tell you how to heal yourself, heal others, and how to cleanse yourself. And the cleansing starts from the inside out. You cannot cleanse the outside and not clean the inside. It has to start on the inside.
Right, of course. Of course. Okay, this is incredible. I love what you're offering us here, and I do. I'm so passionate about helping people truly take control of their lives in the sense of reconnecting. And I think people feel so disconnected, and I think there's so much to that. And I love what you're doing here is you're not saying, look, I'm going to have you rely on me forever. As you said, you're showing us exactly how we can do it ourselves. And I think that's so powerful. Everyone, you can simply click on the special offer button that is on this page. Really have a good look at this. This is really powerful. Gerald, you're fantastic. And I love how much you've shared with us. And it's just, there's so much, I know you were saying we have the language of words, but there's also feeling, and there's thought, and there's intention. And there is an amazing feeling about you and an incredible pure intention about everything that you've shared with us today. And I really want to thank you for that. It's very powerful, and we're all appreciating.
I'm humbled by what you said. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I truly mean that. Do you have anything that you want to share with us that you really feel like we must know before we leave you today?
Yeah, I really would like to tell people that, first of all, this is their natural state. They're going back to the way they were born. What we're doing right now is totally unnatural at all levels. All our behaviors are unnatural. This is not the way we were born, because we are much older than this lifetime, because we are really the one. We were born in incredible states, and we're going to go back to it. And then what's important right now is also that understand that even though there is stress right now, there might be a lot of stress next year. I keep on bringing messages about what's going to happen and so on and so forth. It's very important for people to stay pure at heart, pure in their body, and then constantly have this focus on the inner now. They have to keep that focus on the inner and operate on the outer. The applications that already have happened in a couple of years are mind-boggling, really, from my students, And I have right now, I don't know, close to 40,000 students, so it's a lot.
Wow. And see, you're helping the transformation, you're helping the movement, you're helping the creation. And I thank you for that, because this is really powerful, and it's so important.
Yes.
Everyone, I just want to give you that link one more time. It is livebigmedia.com/remote, spelled REMOTE. And Gerald, yes, you've just been phenomenal. I so appreciate this. I appreciate you being here with us. And I just can't wait till we get to do this again.
We will.
We definitely will. And everyone listening, you are all extraordinary. It is my gift and blessing to be able to be here spending time with you. So thank you so much. And until the next time, everyone, keep manifesting. Bye-bye all.